Hi, it's Nate Charles. Welcome back to the Rule of Law Brief. It's Veterans Day. I've always had mixed feelings about Veterans Day. I'm proud of my service and I'm proud of the men and women I served alongside. But if I'm being honest, it's hard to celebrate the way that people expect these days. It's because what we all signed up for, what we signed up to defend, wasn't a flag and it wasn't a uniform. It was a set of ideals. The Constitution, the rule of law, and the belief that in this country, freedom isn't something the government gives you, it's something the government is bound to protect. When I took the oath of office, it wasn't an oath to a person or a political party, it was an oath to the Constitution of the United States. That oath is unique in history. In most nations, soldiers swear allegiance to a ruler, or a monarch, or to a particular dictatorial regime. We don't. We swear an allegiance to an idea, to laws that are meant to outlast more than any one person, and that's what has made America different. When I think about my military service and what I am most proud of, it's not the medals or the deployments, it's the sacrifices that I made for my community. And maybe that means something a little different to me. I grew up in a household that was deeply immersed in the law, a family that understood why it mattered and what it was doing every single day to keep society functioning, to protect people's most fundamental and cherished rights. That understanding shaped everything about how I served. What I expect from my community in return is simple. Don't undermine that sacrifice. Don't take the freedoms we fought for and hand them away to someone who disdains the very Constitution that protects them. And I have to say that all of this, acknowledging that there are a lot of veterans out there who support Donald Trump. And look, I get it, at least on some level. I understand why some people in the military find him appealing, but I also think that that is incredibly foolish. People who are really comfortable in the military, who actually enjoyed the rigors of that lifestyle, were often people who were comfortable with authoritarianism. And the truth is, the military is an authoritarian institution. There's no question about that. It has to be. Unity of command, strict hierarchy, that's what makes the military function. That's what keeps people alive in combat. But that's exactly the point. I didn't enjoy that lifestyle. I was proud to serve, and I'm proud of what I did, but I didn't enjoy living inside an authoritarian system. For me, that was part of the sacrifice. Because when you serve, the military doesn't just own your working hours, it owns your life. It tells you where to live, when to sleep, what to wear, when to eat. It invades every part of your existence. And I accepted that willingly because I believed in what I was protecting, a civilian society that wasn't authoritarian. I was willing to live under that system so that the people I loved could live free from it. And that's what makes the last few years so hard to stomach. Because what I see now is people, including many veterans, turning around and voting for the very thing we swore to protect this country from, voting for an authoritarian. It feels like my sacrifice and the sacrifices of so many others just got thrown away. Like everything we endured to keep the country free from dictatorship was tossed aside for the sake of political convenience or blind loyalty. And that's not just disappointing, it's infuriating. We shouldn't be celebrating veterans just for the sake of celebrating veterans. We should be celebrating veterans for the sacrifices that they made, sacrifices that brought us the liberties that we enjoy every single day. But that's not what I see happening now. What I see is an administration that treats veterans not as symbols of service, but as symbols of power, as props, the embodiment of authority, strength, and obedience. And that is dangerous because the purpose of military service was never to glorify power. It was to protect freedom from it. The uniform was never supposed to represent control. It was supposed to represent commitment, the willingness to give up your own comfort, your own freedom, even your own life to preserve the freedoms of everyone else. When we start celebrating veterans as instruments of power rather than as defenders of principle, we've lost the thread of what this country is supposed to be. So no, it's not easy to celebrate Veterans Day anymore, but maybe that's not what it's about. Maybe it's supposed to remind us that the oath still matters, that defending this country doesn't end when you take off the uniform. The real fight for America isn't overseas anymore. It's here, at home. And whether we still believe in truth, in law, in accountability, and in the idea that no one is above the Constitution. That's what I fought for. That's what I still believe in. And that's what I'll keep defending until I draw my last breath.